Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and in tonight's video, I'm going to be talking all about my interface. Add-ons, weak auras, my UI. I've gotten a lot of questions over the past week or two with Dragonflight coming out. What add-ons are you using? Where are your weak auras? What add-ons are you using? Where are your profiles? All that. And there are links available to them in the Wago and the Pastebin by typing !WA in Twitch chat or my Discord. However, I want to make a video tonight talking about the important macros, the important add-ons that I use, profiles, all that, and try and answer all the burning questions you guys keep asking, which is no problem, over the past week or so. So I think this video will be good to link to everybody that has general questions about it. Maybe go in depth a bit on a few add-ons, setting up like bars and some options here and there, but I think it'll give a good look as to how my UI is built, and we can just, well, yeah, I guess go from there. Like I did say, links to my Discord and Twitch down below where you can get the weak auras for free. I'll also put a link directly to the Wago down below in the video description. Links appear, social media links, as well as Patreon if you'd like to support on there. And with that being said, let's jump into it, starting off with some of the bigger weak auras. Okay, so getting into the main weak auras here, I use a good bit of them. However, I'm going to cover the big ones here you see on stream and videos, all that, and the ones that I get the most questions about. And hands down, the number one weak aura is going to be the central one right here. This is a weak aura. It's in the middle of my screen here. You can get it from the Wago, once again, linked down below. There's a handful of weak auras in there, but this is going to be in there with a picture of it, all the above. So it is called the Kalamazi Dragonflight weak aura. It is dynamic. It will track basically any proc, effect, defensive trait, your pets, your sacrifice, whatever you have for each spec. So for example, let's say I am playing Demonology and I change to Destruction. The weak aura will change to Destruction or Affliction, saying it'll change to whatever spec you're playing. And the cool thing about it, in addition to being every spec, let's say for example I'm playing Haunt as Affliction with this build. If I change from Haunt to, let's say we put a point in something we can track here. Let's say we put it in we track, I think it's Affliction. I guess we can't. Let's do a better example here and play a spec. It's not actually terrible in the first place as well. Let's say we're playing Demonology and we're playing Nether Portal, but we want to play Guillotine instead. The cool thing is that it tracks Nether Portal right here. However, it will change from Nether Portal to Guillotine if you change the talent. There's Guillotine. Throw a point in there. It is dynamic. This talent will go away, and Guillotine will appear right about here, which is very cool. It works for every spec that way. It will not have irrelevant talent points or irrelevant, abilities on the weak aura. Only things that are relevant, and that is just that. It works for Destro, Demo, and AF. Now, in addition to just showing, abilities and being dynamic, it also tracks procs. So, for example, let's do this. Let's get our pets out. It's Demonology. We are indeed playing Guillotine. Let's go back to playing Portal, for example. Go through here. It will track procs, it will track stat effects, everything pretty much along those lines, whenever you get them. So for example, I'll cast my Dreadstalkers here. So it's going to trigger Shadow's Bite whenever they end up expiring. So let's build a couple shards here, get the eyeball out, cast Dreadstalkers here. There's a synergy proc. This is Spellstorm. This is actually a very important weak aura to see because you cannot cast Demonic Strength or Guillotine when your pet is Spellstorming. When it's not red, it means it's either able to be cast or it's on cooldown. So for example, I know I can pop my Demonic Strength right here. There's the actual weak aura. I can't Guillotine until it's done. Now I can Guillotine. To a similar extent, it's tracking Shadow's Bite here, Synergy here. This works for Destro and Demo and Affliction. I cast a Hand of Gul'dan. This is now also tracking stacks from Grim Inquisitors, the talent. I believe it's called Grim Inquisitors, the Dreadstalker like talent, but the one that stacks the actual damage here. Dread Calling, there you go. It tracks every single buff, every single spec. Whatever you need is in this weak aura here. So that's the Kalamazi Dragonflight Central weak aura. Okay, so the next weak aura here is a Demonology one, and it's going to be an Imp tracker. Now, this is a different one that I used in BFA and Shadowlands due to the fact that Imp Gang Boss is a new talent in Dragonflight, which summons Imp Gang bosses. There are larger imps whenever you cast a Hand of Gul'dan or summon imps, and if you implode the Imp Gang bosses, they then summon an imp in their place. Now that imp they summon can also be another Imp Gang boss. Any kind of imp replacement effects, Imp Gang boss, implosions, regular Hand of Gul'dan cast, even inner demon summons can be Imp Gang bosses. So I wanted a weak aura that could track Imp Gang bosses as well as regular imps, and this weak aura does that. It's called the Rocky Imp Tracker, RHAKI. It's in the Wago. Realistically, I don't really need it a whole lot myself. I'm used to like implosion cycling a good bit. But still, it's very good to have around people that are going to use the Demonology and all the above. So for example, I'll open on these mobs here. I have my pets on passive, so I'll explain what the actual weak aura does. I'm going to cast a Hand of Gul'dan. So we're going to see a number here. So this one, I have one Imp Gang boss. They're supposed to be on passive, but they're going the other way. That's fine. He's right here. these are their remaining casts, being 3. This is their remaining duration outside of combat, which will change when we get in combat. This is once again the number of Imp Gang bosses active, being 1. There's 1 here, and 2 regular imps, and this is the total number right here. And the way you tell an Imp Gang boss, being this blue glowing bar here, versus regular imps are the yellow or green bars, depending on remaining casts. They have 6 casts total every time, unless you have a Tyrant out. This is an Imp Gang boss, this is a regular imp, and that's the gist of it. So let's start casting some more spells here. I'll put my imps back on aggressive. We'll start actually building some imps for implosions. I'll cast my dogs briefly. No imps out. There's no weak aura. So we'll cast dogs here. Start casting some hand and Gul'dans. So we'll go hand. Should be 3 imps. 1 Imp Gang boss, 3 imps total. Hand again. There's 6 imps, 1 Imp Gang boss, which is right there, glowing in pink. Hand and Gul'dan again here. They're all expiring. You can see actually just cast times, or remaining cast here. 1 imp being 1 Imp Gang boss, which is sitting right there. You get the gist of it. The Imp Gang bosses they should all glow blue like that. I don't know why they're not all glowing blue. Could be just a bug. I'm not really sure. But so we have 1 active, 3 total, being 2 being non-imps or not Imp Gang bosses. All the above. I'll check as to why it's not blue. Not really sure. I'll figure it out. But the big thing either way is that they have the purple, pinkish countdown for being an Imp Gang boss. So this shows how many imps you have out total, how many Imp Gang bosses you have, and gives you a timer. A good way to reference saying, okay, my imps are expiring with 1 cast left. I need to implode an AoE. Tracking your pets, imps, and regular pets is the gist of demonology. It's micromanaging pet durations, making sure you get Tyrant extensions in before they expire, and managing their life and remaining life properly for maximizing DPS. And the last 2 I want to bring up here are actually mostly demonology based once again. Destro and Affliction for the gist of it are pretty much handled just by the central one here, but demonology, it's a few that I use outside of that. So the first one here is going to be the Totem/Pet Tracker. Now, this will track your Felguard, your Grimoire Felguard, your Vile Fiend, your Called Dreadstalkers as demonology. I use an add-on called OmniCC, OMNICC. It puts a timer on this weak war. You can add one if you want as well. Whatever you want, personal preference, but it's above my bar right here. You'll see it when I get in combat. And I'm also going to show you another portal tracker. Now, is this needed? No. Is it relevant information? I mean, not really. It's sort of cool to have around. Everybody asked about it. No, I didn't make it. Somebody linked it to me. But if you want it, it's in the Wago. It will show the damage your demons deal from Nether Portal whenever they come out and attack. It's pretty cool. If you want it, it's in there. But I get a lot of questions about it. So watch here for my actual pet tracker and watch over here for the Nether Portal tracker. So we're going to go into combat here. I am playing Portal, which is good. Here we go. We're going to build the 5 shards, cast the Portal. I'm going to cast Grimoire, Soul Burn. There's my Grimoire Felguard tracker. Cast Vile Fiend. Here comes the actual Nether Portal damage. I got to cast a few spells here. This is not going to be an optimal portal or anything, but it's still there. We're going to pop our Trinket, go into our Tyrant, and then go like this. And you can see pit, damage from the actual Nether Portal pets here. There's the Pit Lord right there, rising up. Here's my Grimoire Felguard, my Vile Fiend, my Called Dreadstalkers, all being sent by the Tyrant, being calculated from that as well. And that's the gist of it. Here's the actual imp tracker if you want it as well. You can see the Imp Gang bosses versus non-Imp Gang bosses. People like this weak aura. Does it show like relevant information? Not necessarily. It's cool. Takes up a lot of space though. If you want it, it's in there. But the big thing I want to drive home here is that you need a way to track your Grimoire Felguard, your Vile Fiend, and your Called Dreadstalkers. And this weak aura here will do that. It'll show how much time they have remaining for their entire lifespan. It'll show their extensions with Tyrant, because Tyrant extends your pets that are active. So for example, I have a Tyrant here in about 15 seconds here. We'll just start casting. This is not a give rotation for what it's worth, but it's still a thing. So we end up building this, cast Hand of Gul'dan. So I'll cast my Vile Fiend in second tier. We'll cast Vile Fiend. There it is. We'll cast dogs now, sure. There it is. There's our dogs. So I know I have about 8 seconds left. I have to cast my Tyrant to finish the Tyrant cast to extend pets. So I go, let's say as we go Tyrant now. 1 second, Tyrant extension. It tracks pets, it factors in Tyrant extensions, all the above. And it's something that I think everybody starting off as Demonology or even playing Demonology for a while could and should use. It'll even track multiple dog sets. For example, I'll cast another dog set here because we have extension out. There's 2 dog sets per second. It works well. All the above, I'd highly recommend it. It's called the Totem Tracker. If you want this Nether Portal weak aura, it's in there as well. Up to you. But those are the big weak auras that I use for Demonology and basically all the specs. Now, Outside of those, there are a couple of different weak warriors that I do end up using. Like this combat timer, for example, is in the Wago. Can you hit the dummy, please? Thank you. This combat timer is in the Wago as well. A few different ones. Combat timer, I have a cursor weak warrior that puts a circle around your cursor whenever you're in combat. So if I enter combat here, nothing beforehand, enter combat, casting a spell here. Cursor, circle around it. Makes it much easier to find your cursor in combat if you're in a gray zone or whatever. You can change the color by going under display options in that weak aura if you want. Display, color, you make it whatever you want here. Once again, secondary stat weak aura right here. If you want it, it's in the Wago. The actual combat timer is somewhere in here as well. There you go. And a few other ones here too. The dragon riding weak aura if you want. All the above. I recommend scrolling through the actual Wago to look what you want. There's pictures next to some of them. Make it easier on you guys, but TLDR, these are the main weak auras that I use. And oh yeah, the soulstone one is in there too. If you don't have a soulstone up in a raid, it'll tell you. There's that. So the useful ones, there you go, all the above. Let's get into a few other add-ons really quickly. Okay, so when it comes to nameplates, I use an add-on called Plater, Plater. If you like my profile, just pull up the actual add-on /Plater, hit enter, grab the profile from the Wago, which is in there, just click export, then go into here. Open up profiles, import, paste it in there, and it is done. That's all you got to do. Very cool, very simple, very customizable. Plater is pretty much the de facto go-to nameplate add-on for that everybody uses in game now. There were a few in the past that were used, but Plater is so good at what it does and customizable and simple at the same time that most everyone's just using Plater nowadays. Now, it's very customizable. If you want to dig through here and look for different things, you can. On the fly, just like, hey, heads up kind of things. If you want to space nameplates out more, nameplate overlap, you can make it larger, smaller, view distance, whenever you can see nameplates, all that stuff. Another cool feature of Plater is you can change the actual color of enemy nameplates. So for example, I actually have this one being blue over here. You can go to NPC colors and names if you want to change an ad that's maybe threatening in a Mythic Plus pack, one that needs to be kicked for a heal, like this guy, whatever he was from that dungeon back in the day, wherever it was, Fires of Ascension, this thing, the Goliaths, for example. If I want to make it magenta, I can do that. If I want to make it cyan, Indian red, whatever. Let's say, you know, it's this mob over here. It's typically white, but I changed it. You can make it magenta, you can make it cyan, you can scroll down and find a million different color combinations, mint, cream, whatever you want. The point I'm getting at, it changes the color of the nameplate to say, hey, it lets you see where this mob's at in the pack. It makes it easier to kick things if need be. It separates that mob from the others. Makes it very easy in Mythic Plus, even in raiding, for example, if a boss is up and there's an ad spawning you need to kill. Makes it very simple, NPC colors and names. Now, I have a script that just changes the color of the actual target that I'm on. So for example, these are all yellow, but I'm changing my target, so it goes to purple. You can get rid of that if you want. I have a few scripts in here, actually. So under scripting, you can go into here. The main one that I'm actually going to show you here is called Pandemic Glow. Now, you can add dots if you want to this. I have Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life, Immolate, Doom, and Unstable Affliction. If you want to add more dots, whatever class spec you are, that's fine. This will add a Pandemic Glow, which is a glow when they reach pandemic range, to the dot on the actual target. So for example, I am playing Destra. We have Immolate on the list. Let's say I'm attacking this. I put up an Immolate. It will glow on the actual target's bar when it reaches pandemic range, saying, number one, refresh me before I fall. Number two, saying, hey, you can refresh me now, you won't lose damage, because whatever duration's added to it, glow now, or whatever remaining duration is there, will be added to the new application of Immolate or Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life, whatever, what have you. This works for Affliction, this works for Demonology, and this works for Destruction. Now, it's typically used as AF mostly for juggling dots and things, Agonies, Corruptions, UA, even like Siphon Life at times, but Plater is like hands down the best, in my opinion, the best nameplate add-on out there. And if you're looking for one, I would highly recommend looking into Plater itself. Incredibly customizable. There's a bunch of different CVARs you can change as well. There's Corruption, Agony, Siphon Life, and UA will glow in a few seconds here. Incredibly customizable. I use Plater, no problems with it whatsoever. Yeah, it's just good. I'll have a link to the actual build once again in the Wago for my actual Plater profile if you'd like it. Now, the main add-on that I use for player frames, party frames, raid frames, boss frames, all of that is called Shadowed unit frames. You often hear it referred to as SUF, shadowed UF, shadowed unit frames. This is the actual interface of it. So I'm going to click lock frames here, and it will show you all the frames at once. It doesn't ever look this bad, but you can see my party frames are over here. I can drag them around wherever I want to put them. My raid frames are here. My actual boss frames are here for council-based bosses with multiple targets active. You can move this closer to where you want it, closer over here, further over here, wherever you desire. It makes easier multi-dotting, all the above. My player frame, my target frame, my target frame being here. And the cool thing is, this is incredibly customizable. If you like my profile, this is actually in the paste bin. You can't put it on Wago, but the same thing, !WA in Twitch chat or my Discord will pull it up for you. It's in the paste bin. All you have to do, when you load the add-on for the first time, it'll look like this. Just check the advanced box, go into Layout Manager, hit Import, paste the information in there, hit Accept, and you get everything that I have. Works out great, no problems. We're good to go. So the cool thing about this is customizable if you want to mess around with it. For example, if you want to enable, let's say PvP frames, there's options down here for arena. I don't have it on, but you can turn it on. Pet targets, target of target, focus target, party target, raid pet. There's a million different options you can enable here. If you want to change the actual sizes of things, for example, you can go to boss frames. There's boss frame, bars, widget size, auras. You can choose what you track here. You can whitelist things, blacklist things. There's a handful of different things you can do with shadow unit frames to track different buffs, debuffs, sizes, all the above. Make the offset bigger or smaller. You can actually just change the size, I believe, in here as well. But the cool thing, shadow unit frames is sort of like an all-in-one kind of just player, target, boss, raid, every kind of frame add-on. Very customizable, very simple, even though it looks a bit daunting here. It never looks just convoluted. This is just every add-on at once, or every, I guess, frame at once here. But shadowed unit frames is what I use. And once again, in my paste bin, if you want it, it's there for free. All the above. Click it, import it, drag it into Layout Manager, import, accept, and you are good to go. Okay, so when it comes to my UI, I don't use the Blizzard default UI for bars or anything, even though it looks just like the Blizzard default UI. I use an add-on called Bartender. So I've used it for a long time. Bartender basically just lets you do whatever you want with your actual player bars. Now, you have the options of moving your vehicle bar, extra action bar, bag bar, micro menu, pet bar, different bars over here, status tracking bar, all the above. I will say the Blizzard default UI can do nearly everything that I'm showing you right here. If you set up your UI using the Blizzard default one, keep using the Blizzard default UI. The only reason I use Bartender is because of this. I like fading bars out. I don't want this garbage on my screen for like summons and hellstones like in the middle of a fight. Bartender allows you to fade bars out. The Blizzard default UI does not. If they add the functionality, I will not use Bartender anymore, but they haven't, so I'm using it. Now, Bartender, very simple as well. If you left click it, it pulls up the bars you can drag around. If you right click it, it pulls up the interface. So you have a handful of bars you can use here. For example, I have bar 1, 2, and a bonus action bar. If you want other bars that aren't on, you can go through enable it. There's that bar. I'm gonna turn it off. 6, 7, 8. There's a handful of bars you can use if you want that aren't enabled just passively by default. You can change your bag bar. You can change micro menu. You can drag anything around where you want. It's basically move anything for your UI. Incredibly customizable. And the cool thing, like I said, fading bars out, visibility. Let's say, for example, I want to fade this bar out up here, the bonus action bar. All you do, go to that bar, visibility, fade out alpha, 0%, which makes it completely invisible. Close this out, it's gone. There it is. If I want to see it a little bit, you can make the actual, let me pull up the actual add-on here. You can pull up, or you can leave the actual like visibility to like 10%, for example. Let's make it 20%. So it's sort of noticeable, but not fully until you hover over it, and then it shows the entire bar. So it's incredibly customizable. You can make your UI smaller, larger, move things around if you want. Yeah, the Blizzard default UI does nearly the exact same thing, but the big thing, once again, you can fade bars in and out. You can move them around wherever you want. You can even turn off the bar. You don't want your bag bar at all. I have it down here in the corner. I don't want it. Turn it off. It's gone. I don't want my micro menu at all. Turn it off. It's gone. I have this faded out. I have my pet bar. I don't think my pet bar is not faded out, but I mean, you know, I guess theoretically you could fade it out. I always put on passive and forget about it, but you can. I haven't had my bag bar on for a while. I just hit B if I need it. You can leave it on if you want to. Just fade it out. Visibility, fade out, 0%. If I need it, bam, there it is. If I need my micro menu, there it is. But I don't have it on passively. Excess clutter, don't need it. Bartender, being able to fade bars out, very customizable, awesome, and very simple to set up too. And the last add-on I want to talk about today is called Details. This is a damage meter. I assume most everybody knows what Details is, but in case you don't, this is essentially a damage meter. So I have 3 here, one being current damage, one being damage overall, and one being healing done. If you want to make a new frame in Details, very simple. Window control, create a new window, it pops up. Going into the options of Details. So they've added a cool search bar, functionality-wise. You can just search for whatever. For example, if you want to always see your name on Details, I don't have that problem. I'm always first in DPS, obviously. But if you want to do that, you can just search, for example, always show me. If I can type correctly tonight, always show me. There's that right there. You can also adjust just like text in here, text size, text color, all the above, bar size, all that. It's very customizable. It's also very plug and play. If all you want is one frame just for damage, all you have to do is load the add-on. It should load passively. Some steps to set it up, saying, hey, this is a damage meter, this is a healing meter, whatever you want, set it up. But it's also customizable. For example, you can go in here, it's very in-depth. You can dig around for like, if you go into like the actual in-depth stuff, miscellaneous, you can go into interrupts, resist, dispels, deaths, cooldowns, buff uptime, debuff uptime, healing, just actual rage gain, mana gained, enemy damage taken. So if you're looking at like just pure boss damage, like who dealt the most damage to whatever this thing is, it was, I don't know, it doesn't say, but it'll show you who dealt the most damage to the target. It's very customizable. It's basically like if you can't pull up logs on the fly in the middle of prog or Mythic Plus, like dissect things, Details will give you an in-depth look on the fly quickly if you know how to do it. And the best way to learn Details, take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, click around, find what you need, and have just a general knowledge of, hey, okay, I can look at kicks here, I can look at prior damage done, healing, DPS, all that, and get it down. It takes 10 minutes to learn, very simple to implement, and it's the best damage meter out there, not even close. All right, and rounding it all up, I want to touch briefly on macros that I use, which is not a whole lot of them, but some of them are actually pretty important, I think, and make life much, much simpler. So the first one here, off the bat, it says corruption. So this macro makes it so that you can cast corruption with a mouse over. So essentially, I'm targeting this animated duelist. I'm playing AF. I'm targeting this, but if my cursor is over this mob and I hit this macro, which just replaces corruption, it applies corruption to the mob with my cursor over it, even if I'm targeting this. If I go over here and target this thing, but put the mouse over here, it applies corruption to that. It's a mouse over macro for corruption. You can do the same thing for Agony and Siphon Life, and I guess theoretically even Unstable Affliction or other dots too. Just change the actual name to Agony or whatever else you want. The same here for Agony, Siphon Life, whatever, what have you. I don't use them personally, but I keep it around for people that want to see them on stream. I don't like it personally, but if you want to use it, it's totally fine. No problem at all. Personal preference. Now, to a similar extent, let me change that. To a similar extent, Destruction also has an ability called Havoc. So you can do the same thing with Havoc as Destruction. I played with this for a little while. I've opted not to use it recently, but I've been a little lazy with it. It does indeed make things a bit easier at times if you're in a heavy cleave setting. So for example, once again, Havoc applies a debuff to a target that will essentially clone damage onto a different target that is not the one with your Havoc on it. So for example, let's say I'm targeting this mob here, but I have my mouse over this mob. If I pull the macro out, put it on my bars, Havoc will indeed go on the target that has my mouse over it. So once again, mouse here, target here, Havoc. There it is. I cast on my main target, not swapping targets at all, Chaos Bolts. It literally just applies Havoc to whatever your mouse is over, same as the Corruption macro, same as whatever it be for Agony and for Siphon Life and all the above. It's a mouse over macro for Havoc. I used it in the past, I haven't used it recently. I think it's worthwhile. Typically use it in prog. It's just solid. It saves you the time of going, okay, an ad spawned. If I want to do more damage, this ad, because Havoc deals 60% of your damage to whatever target has Havoc on it. So let's say, for example, an ad spawns that's high prio. This is the boss. You can just go, sure, all right, Havoc, and go hit the mob over here, but the boss is taking, 60% versus the mob taking 100. If you want like high prior damage on the mob, that's fine. But if you want high prior boss damage, you'd rather apply Havoc to the actual mob that spawned and keep blasting the boss with the full actual just Chaos Bolt damage or Incinerate damage. So this macro makes it very easy. I don't have to swap targets. Literally, I'm hovering over the boss, I'm hitting the boss, whatever, go over here, hover over that, stay on target the whole time. Nothing has to be changed, not losing any time, swapping around, juggling target frames. It's all the same, and you're just good to go. Now, the other 3 macros. So this is a simple Soulstone macro. Instead of having to target the person that died or you're putting a Soulstone on, you hover over either their nameplate in raid frames or party frames, and it will apply the Soulstone to them. If they die, hover over their nameplate. It'll res them with the Soulstone. Don't have to swap off your target when you're attacking them to essentially, you know, res somebody or soul on someone. Now, the last two here, so for Destro, Rain of Fire, it is incredibly annoying having to place Rain of Fire essentially like this every single time. Rain of Fire, you got to place the reticle. This makes life so much easier. Instead of going Rain of Fire, Rain of Fire, Rain of Fire, it's just an at cursor macro. So for example, I'll open up here, get some shards coming in. All you got to do, wherever your cursor's at, Rain of Fire. My cursor's over here, Rain of Fire. It's wherever your cursor is, it will place the Rain of Fire. This is probably the best quality life macro for any Warlock. Having a Rain of Fire at cursor macro makes life so much easier. I'd highly recommend it. Once again, all these are in the paste bin if you want them. And the final one here is going to be a soul burn macro. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, I think Blizzard's probably going to nerf this, but so this macro is very important for Nether Portal. This has been like probably the biggest question I've gotten over the past 3 or 4 days since the demo guide came out. Why or how are you soul burning? I can't do it. When I cast soul burn, it doesn't consume a shard. That's because you didn't listen to the video, but it's fine. You need a macro for it. So the way soul burn works is that it consumes a soul shard. It is off the GCD. For example, I'll hit it, no GCD. And the way Nether Portal works is that whenever you cast a shard consuming spell, it will summon a demon from the portal. So soul burn off the GCD, 6-second cooldown, which means that you can get 3 into each Nether Portal, and it consumes a shard. Now, the unfortunate part about soul burn is that without the macro, so let's say I pull this out of here. This is the macro. This is no macro right here. So let's say I soul burn, right? Actually, I already have the buff, right? So I can't spam soul burn without the macro. It won't cast if you have a buff on you already. Just that's how Blizzard made it. But if you have a macro that just says /cancel aura soul burn /cast soul burn, it'll cancel the aura and cast soul burn in the same button. See? Cancel, there goes the shard, cast it again. I hit it again on cooldown, it'll cancel the aura, but it can't cast again. You have to use the macro during another portal. Now, for example, I can show you an opener here. This is not going to be optimized. It's also 5 in the morning, but it's fine. So let's say, for example, you're opening with portal. I'm not even have the right pet out. It's fine. You cast portal, instantly hit soul burn off the GCD. That's 1 pet from the portal. It's right here. Off the GCD, 1 shard spent. At the same time, you can hit Grimoire at the exact same time for essentially 2 pets in the same CD, the same GCD, right? Because Grimoire incurs a GCD. This does not. Then you go into Vile Fiend, whatever else. You can cast Soul Burn 2 more times before the portal closes, fully empowering, well, greatly empowering your Pit Lord with more pets being summoned, more RNG by Naruto's volition and all that. But that is why Soul Burn is used during another portal as of December 5th, 2022. Blizzard probably nerfs it before the raid comes out, but that is the reason why. That's how you do it. Once again, all the macros are in the paste bin if you like. And that is basically the 5 that I use for the most part as a Warlock. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully the video answered the questions you might have had about the weak auras, add-ons, profiles, macros, and all the stuff that I use on stream and in these videos. I got a lot of questions about, like, hey, what add-on is this? What weak aura is this? Where's the Soul Burn macro from the Demo Destra App guides that came out, what, a week or so ago now? So instead of answering every question individually, I hope this video covered that all for you guys. If it didn't, drop it down below in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back to you. Or if you have any questions or like that, yeah, put it all down there as well, and I'll do my best to help you out. And while you're down there, be sure to smash the like and sub buttons because it helps out a ton. With that being said, I also want to give one huge shout out to my patrons who are in the video, guys. Thank you a million times for all support on Patreon. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you're looking to support me on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down in the video description below somewhere. And yeah, with that being said, we are less than a week away. I guess a week exactly. No, a week and 8 days. I don't know, whatever day it is now. From Vault the Incarnates releasing. I actually am heading out this time again to cast the Liquid Race to World First. I leave this coming weekend, so I have some videos planned while I'm out there for you guys as well. I'll be streaming while I'm out there also, all that. My guild's raid prog, everything. So yeah, if you want to swing by, check out that stream and or my stream during the race, whatever you want. But I really appreciate all support, guys, over the past few weeks and months, everything in general. Launch has been insane. Dragonflight's awesome. I've really, really had a great time with it. And yeah, I hope you guys have as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.